When Dead Island came out, I was blown away as a child. The game was so much fun and I still remember some parts of it, even though it's been 11 years since then. Then Dead Island Riptide came out and it was a rushed mess, and most people forgot about it pretty fast. But then a game I didn't even know about came out. I just heard that it's a zombie game made by Techland. I immediately bought it without knowing much about the game. Yeah, I know, really stupid, but I was 19. This game was Dying Light. And now it's been 7 years since Dying Light came out. And if you didn't know, the game is my all-time favorite game ever. Every time I replay the game, it's a joy, and it just won't get old. If someone told me the game came out yesterday, I would believe them. While the story is just okay, even though I liked it the first time I played it, the combination of parkour and zombies is fantastic, and I have to wonder why there aren't more games which combine this. So the selling point to me is the gameplay, and my expectations for the second installment were actually pretty low. I wasn't even quite sure what I expected from the sequel before I wrote this script. When I saw the trailers, I just thought to myself, finally, some more playtime in the world of Dying Light.
Yeah! Yeah!
More parkour moves, weapon types, and scary nightly chase sequences. I am sold. And this was what I expected. Did Techland deliver on these points? Definitely. The game is fun and it met my expectations, which like I said were very low. It's definitely not perfect and it needs to be polished. The game should have been delayed even more in my opinion. Yeah, I know it was scheduled to release in 2019 and now it's already 2022, but personally I don't have a problem to wait some more for a product which is then actually finished and not just some beta gameplay which is released early. So many AAA titles are coming out today which are just unplayable and people were lied to.
Liar!
But just to be clear, Dying Light 2's problems are more on the graphical side, at least for me, where characters glitch out but the game is playable and, like I said, it's a lot of fun. The graphical bugs are actually very funny most of the time, especially when playing in co-op mode. The story takes place 20 years after the first game. All of Haran's citizens died in the outbreak with no survivors. Spoiler alert, this is actually not true because you meet Spike 1 minute after starting the game. If you don't know who that is, he was one of Zero's bodyguards, a scientist in Haran who worked on the vaccine. So, the canon ending of the following is actually Crane not nuking the city and spreading the virus as a sentient volatile. The GRE was able to create a vaccine against the Haran virus, but since they are stupid, they continue to work with the virus in secret, and they managed to create a strain in 2021 which is immune to the vaccine and anti-scene. Good job GRE, you wanted the profits.
Did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
This actually doesn't sound unrealistic if I think about it. If this would happen in real life, it would probably just go the same. Now the only way to avoid turning from the new strain is standing in UV light at night. This started the second outbreak, which quickly led to the infection and downfall of humanity. 15 years after the event called the Fall, in 2036 over 90% of the world population has been wiped out or infected and only some settlements remain. A European city named Villador, which was walled off by the GRE to keep the infection inside, is ironically one of the last remaining cities where humans reside. Here, different factions are intertwined in a power struggle for the city's supplies, and Aiden Caldwell is on his way there. He is a pilgrim, which are people who travel outside the world, and he makes his way to Villador in order to find his missing sister, Mia. Techland wanted to put more focus into the story of the second game, and they did manage to make an intriguing opening plotline. The side quests, which I was able to play, were also quite interesting, mostly because of the weird but well-written characters of this universe. Like the first side mission I did when you just have to listen to this one dude who is a bit into fish.
'Cause I know that I'm a gay fish.
These types of quests were also my favorite in the first game, just like the weird twins who saw Crane as a Neanderthal and were shit-talking him 24/7.
It's a pretty big battery.
Yes, easily 50 to 55 kilograms each.
That's equal to several large rocks. He's American.
The metric system makes him angry.
Another side quest was more serious, where I had to get loot for some dude and it turned out pretty dark. But it was very well written and interesting. There is a lot of stuff you can do in this semi-open world, from side quests to challenges and looking for loot, and I haven't even seen most of the game. The gameplay is great. They nailed the parkour and made it even better.
Parkour!
More moves which open up new ways to explore the world or run away from its inhabitants.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
The combat system was also refined. Combat is not just dodging and smacking anymore, now there is a counter and parkour moves, which is really well integrated. Before it was just a fest and I avoided fights with humans, but now I just jump right into it. Just as before, there are skill trees for more fighting and parkour moves. I'm assuming it's like in Dying Light 1, where in the end you're a one-man army on steroids. Techland implemented a gear system where your equipment gives you different passive stats which support different playstyles, like a ranged DPS or a tank. Blueprints are also upgradable. All in all, they made the game more RPG-like, but I think it's pretty neat. Enemies now have health bars, which made me skeptical at first, but it's actually very helpful. And if these or your stamina bar or other stuff annoy you, you can just turn them off in the menu.
Turn it off!
The world design is perfectly fit for the parkour playstyle. Keep to the roofs to avoid the hordes of zombies, especially at night. Exploring abandoned houses rewards you with resources for crafting and inhibitors which give you a permanent boost in stamina or health and is needed to explore more difficult places. They also raise your immunity booster, which lets you be out in the dark for longer periods of time. Since these locations can or should be explored only at night, since the zombies are out looking for food, the night gameplay is better integrated into the sequel than in the first game. There you could play most of the game in daytime and nighttime was mostly avoided. Here, nighttime is mandatory, which is a good decision since it raises tension a lot. Stealth also plays a big role and is implemented into the nighttime exploring of buildings. What bothers me is that stealth is optional, since you can just brute force your way through. Would have liked it if the consequences for being seen would have been worse than just some weak ass zombies coming at you. The game is very pretty, especially in the intro when you run through the forests and mountains outside of Villador. The autumn colored trees just look fantastic and I found myself stopping and looking at the view more than once. The city itself is also very nice to look at. The game is detailed and has a constant 60 frames per second. As I said before, it still needs a lot of polishment in the character movement department. NPCs and their weapons are clipping into the environment and they are moving very weirdly and often lose their orientation. And the other agents in co-op look so freaking bugged. Just look at this.
Was?
We just gonna stand here?
Just to say it, the music is very fitting and atmospherical. I like it a lot. The co-op is fun but loses a lot of immersion depending on what you're talking about with your friends. Since I'm just talking bullshit 24/7, I decided to play the game co-op and single player on 2 different save states so I actually get to experience the world.
Apes together, strong.
One thing that annoyed me was one of the early main missions where you have to talk to the people at the bazaar. Here, after talking to the people, you have to wait for a main character to call for you. But when I played co-op, this happened immediately after we talked to the NPCs. Playing solo, the quest wouldn't update and I thought I was stuck. Turns out you just have to wait for some more time or run around and do other stuff. Would have been great if there was some kind of indicator or a timer. I thought the quest was bugged and I wouldn't been able to continue, but I have to admit, I also could have listened a bit better to what the quest dialogue told me. Hello?
Hello, this is Angela.
Oh, hi Miss Merkel. How can we help you?
Nein. I am Angela Bush.
Yes, Miss Bush. What can we do for you?
Cut the game.
What? Cut Dying Light 2? Why? Why do we have to do that?
The Germans are too sensible for mutilation and gore of human bodies.
But you can literally brutally murder people and even animals in other games. And Dying Light 2 is PEGI 18. Why should an adult be told what he's allowed to see in a video game?
Ich said cut it, no discussion. Or you cancel it here.
Fine, we'll cut that out of the game for Germany.
Gut, gut.
Guys, we have to censor the game for Germany.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Yeah, I know, but we have to do it. No, but seriously, why is this German agency, which is run by boomers and people who don't even play video games, telling adults what we can and can't see in the video game? Then the PEGI label is unnecessary and should be abolished completely. And these old-timers can also tell me what I'm allowed to play and watch all the time. Stuff like this really grinds my gears, since these people probably still believe that school shootings and other violent acts are a product of video games. Well, anyway. The game is pretty fun, and if you like the first one, you will like Dying Light 2. They improved the already strong gameplay and focused more on the story and combat, which were the weak points. Is it gonna be my new favorite game of all time? I can't say right now, it still has a lot of issues that needs to be fixed. But I'm having a lot of fun, and it's a great game with hopefully a lot of replayability, since there are different endings that will keep me on the hook for a while. As always, thank you for watching, I'm Harry Derry, and see you in the next video.
Came for me. I ran to the pool and jumped in. I hadn't.
Okay, I'll be on my way then.